Whenever you're ready and the audience is ready.
Hi everyone, I'm Kieran, and as you know by now, I'm kind of a history buff. And when it comes to current events, I think it's really important that we know what's going on around us, and especially with our country. And currently, we've been the victim of threats from many countries from all over the world. And being from a city, I think we can all agree that we kind of know what it's like to be at the other end, the end side of the threats. We know the damage they can do if they have the ability to do so. But specifically, I'm going to be talking about the recent threats from North Korea. I'm going to be talking about the relationship between the U.S. and North Korea, a little information about North Korea, why action should be taken because of their threats, and some suggestions of what America should do. So I'm going to start out with the creation of North and South Korea. Okay. In 1948, after World War II, the U.S. had stationed troops in South Korea and the Soviet Union stationed troops in the North. Both were supposed to hold elections, set up government, and leave as soon as political stability was restored. But in Cold War fashion, neither of them did so, and the Soviet war pushed for communism, and the U.S. pushed for democracy. In the summer of 1950, the North invaded the South, and the UN called for immediate peacetime action. And since the U.S. was already there, they became the most powerful, dominant democratic force there trying to restrict communism. Fighting lasted for 3 years in the Korean War, and an armistice was signed in 1953 which stopped the fighting, but it didn't end up with permanent peace. Today, North Korea is still a communist, totalitarian country, and South Korea is a republic that's run through their constitution with 3 branches of government, and U.S. troops are still in the South today. This is a picture from www.countrystudies.northkorea.org, and it's just a geographical position of both. This is North Korea, the communist country, and South Korea, where U.S. troops are stationed currently. Currently in North Korea, it's like nowhere else on the planet. They have had one political party since its creation in 1948 that's been run by the Kim dynasty family. This party is called the Workers' Party of North Korea. This family kind of created this cult of personality, and they designed each faction of their country to give greater power to themselves and to hold their position in society. And you can see this through their use of their intense restrictions on the media. All TV and radio only shows official programming at all times, and all their iPads that we all have a million apps on, and we download one every day, they only have one government-approved app that they're allowed to look at. And according to Andrea Savato from the Library of Congress, visitors report that plays, movies, books, performances, everything is designed and done to manifest and to add to the glamour that is the cult of this family. And here is a picture from www.38north.com. And this is the three generations of leaders that have been in charge in North Korea. This was the first one, Kim Il-sung, and his son, Kim Jong-il. Both are deceased. And the current leader is Kim Jong-un. From the outside, everybody else sees that there's huge human rights violations being done. And according to humanrightswatch.org, the 2012 reports that there's restrictions of freedom of speech, media, political opposition, and so many more that are kind of kept uncovered. But however harshly the rest of the world kind of sees this all being done, North Koreans are completely devoted to the leader and to their country. It's entirely all too real, and there's actually a report from Hoffman from globalpost.com about a 14-year-old who died. She drowned trying to save portraits of the 2 deceased leaders. She risked her life to save these 2 just portraits of these men. So though this manipulative tactic is used to keep power within their own country, it's also used to isolate them from the rest of the world because they don't want Western influence to come in to lessen their own power. So they have no international media whatsoever. It's extremely hard to get in and out of the country, and all their politics are kept secret until they oppose threats outside. Now, we don't really know if these threats are for their own sake, to show how powerful they are to their people, or to spread their power elsewhere. But because they have been increasingly active in the global community, there is a need to react to their action. They have been threatening South Korea and areas that America has control in the Pacific. And a lot of people say that they can't hit the homeland, but New York Times study shows that they have tested and have small to medium range missiles, and for the past few years they've been testing the large missiles. This graph right here is actually really cool. The first two right here, these missiles, those are the small to large that they have tested, and they know that they can get in the 1 and the 2 area. So that expands to mostly South Korea, to Japan, and the ones that we're unsure of, we don't really know because of the secrecy, we don't know how far they've gotten in their process, are the next two. And that shows the third ring and outer ring, which covers a lot of Russia into Alaska and close to Hawaii and Guam. But why does North Korea keep threatening the U.S.? Besides us being there in South Korea, it's like, why do they just keep over and over again coming at us for threatening us? We're not the only democracy in the world. But since the Korean War, the North has wanted reunification of the entire peninsula. They want to stand as one strong, complete, united communist country, and the South doesn't want that because they want democracy and they have the U.S. as an ally, which kind of makes this dream impossible for the North. And specifically, 3 years ago, the North sunk a South Korean warship that had U.S. and Japanese workers on it. So the U.S. and the UN and South Korea cut off financial ties to the North, and they gave enormous strict sanctions to North Korea, which kind of hurt their economy a lot, so that contributed to their hatred towards America a little bit too. So though many people in the U.S. believe that North Korea doesn't have the ability to affect our everyday lives, it is necessary and imperative that we take action if they do so. But because they're so secretive, everyone's like, what are we supposed to do if we don't know what they have? How are you supposed to plan for something that you have no idea about? And the answer is to prepare for the worst. Just a few suggestions for answering this threat would be a counter threat. Since we don't know their power, their intel, their chemical warfare, how far they've gotten, we can't just let them keep threatening us over and over again and scaring American people's lives. We have to shift from the 2009 strategic plan of patience to an active counter-attack plan to kind of threaten them a little bit, scare them, and show them who they're going up against. And we're confident in our military and in our nuclear weaponry that we need to show them really what they're planning on, who they're planning on threatening, and the strength that we really have. The second plan of action should be security. The mainland and all allied lands should be, a lot of them are, but not all of them, should be guarded with missile interception technology that would be able to offer some sort, an attempt to offer protection to a lot of people that are in the missile ranges for damage. And lastly, as it's happening now, it should continue to happen, an increase in the military in South Korea and allied lands, and also heightened security from western to eastern maritime action. These are just two pictures of U.S. action near the Korean Peninsula. The top one, the boat nearest towards us, and the one all the way on the end are American ships, and the one in the middle is South Korea. And they're doing an exercise drill by the Yellow Sea. And this is just some South Korean tanks that are faced towards the border. So in conclusion, this was not to suggest a war of any sort or to convince you that we should go to nuclear war with North Korea. But I chose this because I think that no matter where it comes or who it comes from, a threat to our national security at all shouldn't be taken lightly. And I think that a threat to your safety and your family and your friends and your parents, your schools, anything that would risk your safety should not be taken lightly like unconcerned gossip and kind of laughed about, but rather answered with the powerful and confident rhetoric that is instilled in the government, military, and government. Thank you.